And before we roll, um, bring your roller nearby and lay down on your back. Take your arms up above your head. If it's comfortable for you, you can create butterfly legs, bringing the soles of your feet together. Just feeling as much of your body connected here to the floor. So if your arms are up above your head, let your elbows relax to the floor. Maybe grab your fingers so that they create a circle up above your head. Let your low hips melt into the floor. Soften your jaw, feel your ankles melt into the floor. Take a moment and be still and just let this heaviness settle. Sometimes our bodies feel tired, physically tired, mentally tired. When we start to get up, we'll leave a little bit of that heaviness behind. In a way, you can think as if you're going to leave your shell and you're going to come out of your shell and you're going to move. But allow yourself to stay in a little bit of a twilight state tonight. So just working the various parts of your body, treating yourself tenderly. And then you'll slip back into your skin and be completely energized and relaxed. If you're holding your fingers up above your head, release and stretch your hands out wide. And if you have your soles of your feet together, release and stretch your heels all the way down. And point and flex your toes and make a couple fists with your hands so you just get really long here. Open and close your mouth really big. Maybe that even triggers a big yawn. Just roll over onto one side, your choice, bringing your knees together, bent, resting your head on your arm, and take your hand straight up towards the sky. So opposite hand straight up towards the sky. And then take your twist, gently dropping that shoulder to the floor, keeping your knees pulled the opposite direction. We're just kind of waking up the low back, waking up your hips, waking up your muscles. Letting your gaze fall towards that extended arm. And then gently bring your knees back to center and all the way over. So now you're rolling on the other side. And you're laying on your side, knees away, knees bent, head on your arm. Take the opposite hand straight up towards the sky. And then let your back of your palm lead as you take your hand to the floor, shoulder to the floor. Knees are the opposite direction. Take that twist. Energetically, your knees are going one way and your gaze is going the other. Palms are up towards the ceiling, putting ourselves in a mode of total reception, total ability to receive, not needing to give a whole lot right now. For some of us, it's the first time in a bit that you don't have to give. Bring your knees back up to center. Gently draw your knees towards your chest and just rock a little bit side to side, opening up through your low back. For me, this whole weekend, I was waiting for this moment when I could just be still and stretching on my mat, not having to do another task, not needing to do another exercise, not needing to finish another job. Just being able to be a little restorative. If you can grab your roller without getting all the way up, then you can do that. And then just set it underneath your neck. So it's propped up underneath your neck. I'm going to keep my feet on the floor, knees bent, because that's comfortable for me. And we'll start with the neck, just rolling your head a little bit side to side, opening up through the back of your neck. You feel that roller press into those pressure points on the base of your skull. And try to hang for about 4 or 5 seconds in each direction here. So as you turn your gaze with your eyes closed is fine, gently to the left or to the right. Just hang there 4 or 5 seconds and then make a slow transition to the other side. Let it hang there. Feel that tension in the back of your neck just dissolve into the roller as you put some gentle pressure there. Once we're done with our neck, bring yourself up gently just for a moment, just to roll the roller to your mid back. Feet on the floor, support your hands underneath the back of your head and lift up your hips. Walk your hips forward, feet forward a little bit so you have some space, and then roll up through these shoulders. And again, you're in no rush. So imagine that actually you get more benefit if you go in slow motion and then just work the tension right out of your upper back and shoulders. Hang there for a moment in that space if you'd like. And don't go past the low ribs. So when you feel yourself get to that spot where you still have support kind of in a crunch position, stop right there and then go the other way. So never going into the vulnerable part of your spine. If you find that it's comfortable, you could take kind of a modified fish pose when you get the roller up to support your upper shoulders. You can relax your head back, chin up, just opening up through your arms, through your upper chest here. If that, and your throat is wide open, if that feels good for you, might depend on if you have that knobby roller and how that feels, but that's one option. Right like this. Okay, friends, let's get into the juicy parts. Here we go. All right, let's do our right flank to start. Quadratus lumborum, this place that if you put your hand on your waist, your fingers go right back here. It's your good muscle part right here above the hip bone, below the rib cage. So we'll put the roller on our back and then kind of lean to the side and get into that space there. It's kind of side waist and mid back. So I'm leaning back just a little bit. Ay, ay, ay. With that stroller, with that roller. Oh my goodness. We did some oblique work this week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. And now that you're getting more familiar with rolling, you can explore a little bit just how it feels also as you kind of change the twist of your body a bit. So you have, when we do this with the legs, you think about this too, like bringing your shoulder down towards the floor and then rolling it open. So even if the roller is not moving, you can kind of open and close your body a little bit.
Oh.
All right, let's do our whole right side. So now we'll just flip over and we'll bring the roller to the right quad, left knee up in a half frog. This is the money right here. Bring that roller on the right quad, forearms on the floor. Right foot is up off the floor. And then let's go super slow, friends. And when you find a tender spot, which I'm sure there are several, stop and take 3 full breaths in and out because you're trying to hang there about 8 seconds. And then after that third breath, then you start to make your way back into that rolling back and forth motion. Not too fast. And then, kind of like what I was advising before with the waist, you can turn the angle of your foot. So, turning your heel down, toes up, and then kind of turning your toes in, twisting a little bit the other way. You're just getting a little bit more surface area of that leg. So, I'm just kind of rotating the ankle around, and it gets a little shift in the muscle, not too much, but a little bit. And don't worry, we're going to get the outside of that leg on its own. So,
You sure?
yeah. Sadly, sure. Okay, friends, let's work our way up, all the way up to the hip and hang at this hip flexor. So I'm bringing the roller way up to that hip crease. You can kind of play with how this feels. So depending on how uh, much your hip bones poke out, it might hurt to go up over those hip bones into the lower abdominals on the right. So you can just kind of stay there. What we're really targeting is the crease, that hip flexor, so right in your groin. So spend a little time there. Get up all of the connective tissue that's up at the top of your muscle, those insertion points. Pushing out the lactic acid, smoothing out the tissue, smoothing that cellulite away, right?
Yes.
Yes. Not that we have that. Okay, now let's go to the inner left thigh. So we're just working our way through our little program here. So left foot is in frog, roller is on the floor now, long ways, and right knee can relax, but I still have my hips up off the floor, roll in and out through that left thigh. Go ahead and get all the way up to the top, friends. And then all the way down to the knee. So tendency to just kind of cover the space. You think you're going kind of far, but you're only going about 6 inches. Cover that whole span. And when you find your tender spot, can you hang right above it, right below it? Take a couple breaths. If benefits in your mind help you, then put a picture in your mind of you feeling totally relaxed. How does it feel when you're just floating in water? Right? There's no gravity, there's no tension. Be sure you get all the way up, also in tight at the top of that leg. Okay, come up off this. Let's do our right butt cheek, and then we'll do the right IT band. Okay, so I'm gonna sit on my roller. I have a short roller, so it easily fits just on one side. If you have a long roller, you can sit on the whole thing. And one thing that's kind of nice is to just roll a little bit that lower glute. And then you can sneak in a little hip stretch here. Might use my block to help me have a place for my hand. You can cross your left ankle over your right knee like we do when we're doing reclined or seated pigeon. And you get a little bit of a hip opener here at the same time as that glute rolling. And this is one of those where, again, so if you lean your body a little bit more to the right, maybe you can get a little bit of that outer butt, and then lean a little bit more to the left. You're just kind of shifting your weight, that subtle direction makes a little change. Oh, my babysitter canceled today, and it was like one of those disappointments. You're all excited to have something, and then you don't. So unfortunately, I spent the day just kind of like going through the motions. I'm happy to be rolling and have a reset for tomorrow. Okay, friends, here comes your favorite.
Ugh.
All right, here we go. Outer right IT band, leaning on your right forearm. Put your left foot in front of you in that propped bent knee. Rollers on the pants seam. Oh, I can't even talk. On the outside of your right leg. And then
I'm just remembering last week I learned that this is not the worst one.
what's the worst one?
Julie had us do the front of our shins, and
Oh,
it was
and how was
torture. It was so bad.
That's, I have to look that one up. So were you kneeling kind of? Like kneeling and
Basically,
put your shins on the roller?
yeah.
I don't know. I still think this one is like take your breath away. It reminds me of like jumping in a cold lake. Like, ah. All right, roll the whole span. If you need to break it into two sections, you can do that. So mid thigh to knee, and then you can kind of work mid thigh to upper hip. You use your legs so much, you guys. You use your legs to climb up the stairs, to get up and down, to get in and out, right? To bend, reach down, pick something up. You use your legs all the time. All these little things that hold your legs into the bones, taking care of them here. Find that special spot. Use your breath, close your mouth, breathe in and out. You know, those little spots that hurt, those are tiny little adhesions of the myofascia to the muscle fiber. You're just working it out gently. All right, if you've ignored a spot, go to it now because we're almost done right here. Whew. All right, let's sit down off of that. And do the right hamstring. So sitting up, getting it on the back of your leg. I'm using my left knee bent, rolling back and forth here. Hands behind you if you can, seems to make the rolling part a little easier. Just requires you to have some shoulder strength this evening, you know. Get that body weight into that hamstring. Again, if you'd like, you could do a little half pigeon with your left leg. Get all the way up into the like connection points at the top if you can. And then we're going to move to the calf. So right calf behind the lower part of your leg. Brace with your left foot so you can lift, and that'll give you some leverage to roll right here on the back of your right leg. If you feel okay like this, and this increases the intensity a lot, you can cross your ankle, and then you roll out that calf. Oh, I think I will not do that tonight. I will just do one leg at a time. It is something. Oh. This leg feels better already, though. All right, don't ignore any little spots. Get all the way from the low ankle, so back of the leg, all the way up to the back of the knee. And this is a good one where if your legs are crossed, uncross them, and then turn your foot over to the right so your inner ankle's up, roll a little bit. And then turn your foot the other way, so then you turn your toes to the left. And roll a little bit. So you get the inner and outer part of that low leg. That's nice. Ooh. All right, let's get ready for the other side. Let's take a quick seated cobbler's pose, soles of your feet together. Just soften here. Maybe your elbows can reach your shins, and you can find an anchor there to help you pull down and fold. You doing okay?
Mhm.
All right. Okay, let's do left flank. Right? Here we are, hand on the waist. It's that nice part that feels so good when you give kind of yourself a little massage there. Lay down on the roller. Oh, roll out that little side part, not laying totally chest up, not laying totally vertical either, just a little bit dropping back with your right shoulder. Oh, ay, ay, ay. And then remember how we did on the other side? We kind of rolled, kept the roller in one place, and then just kind of rolled back and forth side to side. Bringing your shoulder down and then back, you'll feel that really opening up through that whole side waist. Only you know what the sensation is. So if you have a tender area, just be mindful of that. You shouldn't be in agonizing pain, but I think some discomfort is normal in these super sensitive parts. Okay. All right. Let's do our left quad. Have we done it? Let's do our, I think we do our left butt cheek next, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Okay. Left, left butt. Oh, sitting on that roller on the left. Oh, feet out in front. It's hard when you're doing the hamstring to get to this part where the top of your hamstring connects right into your pelvis, and then your glutes start to activate. And so you can pay some attention to that part as well, right up at the top, right, of your hamstring, as well as getting into that more juicy, fleshy part of your butt too, in the glutes. You need this because you're using your muscles. So congrats on that, right? This feels good because you have muscles there. If you didn't have muscles, then this wouldn't be so juicy. So that's because you have been working on those muscles. That's good. This is my cellulite area, so I'm gonna rub a lot. I'm gonna roll a lot here.
I'm really sensitive to cellulite because I was on the volleyball team in middle school and I was also on yearbook. And when we were going through the pictures to put in the yearbook, all of the boys called out my cellulite thighs. And I was like
Oh,
13.
oh,
Yeah.
whoa. I bet they had some scrawny parts that didn't have cellulite that were just
Like,
right.
you
No,
guys, like, I'm 13 years
right?
old and my
Oh my gosh.
measurements are 36, 24, 36. Yes,
Yeah.
there's some evidence of that growth.
All right, come on off of that here. Oh, and they made you wear like booty shorts, right? In
Yes,
in
it's
those
almost like
days?
wearing briefs. It was
Yes.
horrible.
Right? Right knee and frog. Oh, bring that roller on there. I do remember that. I mean, the PE outfit. Now I think when my kids were in PE, now the shorts come down to like their knees. So
Yeah.
that's an improvement. But they were like full on booty shorts then, right?
It was basically like having to wear underwear in front of
It was pretty
everyone.
much. It was like a little bit of a diaper situation, right? Like
But then we wore like long sleeve t-shirts. It was so weird.
Captain Underpants.
Ugh.
Oh. Rolling back and forth here all the way through that whole space. Don't leave any part out. It might be jealous later. And you can kind of angle just a little bit. You can't, I don't like roll off, but you can kind of turn your foot this way and then turn your foot the other way. You get a little bit of a different angle, even though we're on the upper part of the leg. All right, if you've ignored the spot, mid thigh to knee, take some time there because then we're going to work our way all the way up to the top. Whoop. Yep, there's that upper hip flexor. Give that some love. There, all the way up at the top of your leg. I think it's nice here, if you can handle it, to just stop, put a little pressure, and breathe. I'm sure hoping that when spring comes, we have like, I don't know, a little less funk. Felt like a little funky this winter. It's been a little hard, right? I think I miss the vibe you get just when you are around people. It's not even necessarily that I want to talk to people or know them, just being in places where people share talents or create an energy or a vibe of some kind. Okay, guys, let's do the hamstring and then we'll do that IT band. So sit back, put your hands
Wait,
behind you.
wait, are we gonna do the
What I missed?
the inside thigh on the right?
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Nicole. All right. If you're already sitting up, I'm going to do my hamstring because I'm already sitting up. If you're not, yeah, we are going to do that inner thigh. Thank you so much because that's like my favorite one, actually.
Mm.
If you're sitting up with me, take that ankle over. And if you're doing your inner thigh because we missed that, then you can just switch back. Do this next. Ay, ay. Okay, it's disrupted our flow a bit, but that's okay. We'll go back and do the left I'm sorry, the right inner thigh. So come on down, left leg extended, right leg in frog, half frog. Oh, that's the best. Roll on the inner thigh there. Oh, I really do love that one, the inner thigh. It's so juicy. Couple more breaths here, and we'll all get back on track together, and we'll do our left calf. Okay, when you've had your fill of that, sit back up again, and we'll do the left calf. So get it on the lower part of your leg, foot up. I'm going to brace through my right leg to start. Lift your hips, roll the back of that leg. And then if you want to just try it, it's crazy. Cross that ankle. Earth shattering is what it is. Ay. This is one where you can turn your foot. So you turn your outer ankle up, turn your toes in, get a little bit on the inside of that leg. And then you can go the other way, turn your toes out, inner ankle up on the outside of that leg. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, very nice. Did I forget anything on our legs? We did both sides even, yeah? Okay.
Just the IT band on that side.
Oh, geez. How did I forget that? Thank you, Nicole. See, I'm like
I was
all
so hyper
noodles.
focused on hoping you'd forget.
That I did. Here we go. I was like, something's missing. That leg still feels happy. Oh. Okay, right foot in front. Oh, here we are. There's that left IT band. My left leg doesn't seem to be as mad as the right. I will have to start with the left sometime and see if it's just because your brain is kind of like, okay, fine, I'm going to stop fighting with you. Or if it's really like a right versus left dominant kind of thing, you know? My right foot is bracing, got my hip up off the floor, roll the whole distance on that outer. Just like you had a stripe on the outside of your legs, on the outside of your pants. Follow it with the roller.
Chris, I wasn't trying to be class pet. I don't like feeling like I'm not balanced.
No, how could we not do this side? This is actually like, if we're gonna commit to doing rolling, we gotta do this, right? Like it's part of the commitment, you know? Okay, one more breath there, and then you're gonna make your way off your roller. I feel complete now. Okay, let me show you this with the strap. This is pretty nice for the quads. Could be a smidge awkward getting into it. So I'm gonna hook my foot with the strap, but then I'm flipping over. Okay?
Wait, what?
I'm gonna so I've got the strap on my arch, and I did it this way, because that's like, normal. And then I'm just flipping over. Watch me and it'll make sense. I'm going to lay down and then pick up the strap and use it to pull this way so that you get a really great quad stretch here without having to strain your shoulders at all. So see, I've got the strap on. I started with having it through my arch, but now that I flipped over, it's right on the uh, band of my foot like a sandal, and I'm just pulling on my belly. Yep. And if your strap is real stretchy, you might not get quite as much stretch. And you can play with even trying to lift the thigh a bit as you pull that strap. That gets more into your hip flexor as well. But this is, to me, a really nice quad stretch. I'm getting a lot of opening through the front of that leg without having to put any strain on my back. Awkward to get there.
This is the first time my makeshift strap has failed me.
Oh no, the scarf is not working. Not long enough or what?
I just need to tie a better knot.
Oh. Okay. Now I was able, but I'm one of those people that like can pick up things off the floor with my feet. So I was able to just switch out of one foot into the other. So if you can do that, then we're in the same exact position, but other leg. If you need to get up, switch back around and do that. And again, just try what it feels like to let the strap lift your thigh. You get really a lot more into that quad and hip flexor. A little awkward, but possible. Just a little opening is all we were doing there. So once you've done that, then you can take off your strap. Support your forehead with your hands and just windshield wiper your knees side to side while you're here on your belly. When you're ready, push gently, relaxing here, and then just take a Sphinx pose, pushing through your hands, releasing your low back, elbows right underneath your shoulders. We do this sometimes in our yoga practice, but we use it as a moment of rest. Use it here as a moment of elongation. So feel your upper arms supporting your body, feel your spine gently curved as you lift your chest. And then we'll bring our hands under and gently come to your hands and knees. And we'll push back to child's pose, but super, super slow so you get that release in your low back. So it's like your forehead and your chest are going to be the very last things to touch the floor. So super, super slow, leading with the tailbone. Push back, push back, push back. Let your hips settle before you release your head. And then find that low child's pose. I love a child's pose with knees out wide because I get the inner thigh stretch and I have more space to soften belly towards the floor. Roll your forehead side to side on the mat. Close your eyes. For this moment, don't worry about an intention. Don't worry about showing up strong or anything like that. Just allow yourself to be part of being able to be restorative, Part of being able to allow yourself to rest is to be able to turn that off once in a while. To just flip the switch, let things go quiet. So when you turn your ambition back on, you turn your intention back on, it's charged, it's brighter than before. Take a nice shoulder stretch on each side, sliding your right arm underneath your left armpit, underneath that space. Option for a half bind with your left hand if that feels nice to open your shoulder, or you can just rest, keeping your left forearm on the floor. Just a nice little shoulder opening here. And then go the other way. Switch. Slide your left hand under. Left side of your head to the floor.
Oh, fuck.
That's not
Sorry.
part of this class, Nicole.
No,
That's
that's
next
the
week.
arm I got my shot in.
Oh, the vaccine arm. Yes, that one is going to be owie. Your muscles are like, what the hell is happening? Mm. Good. Come back up through center. Get a cat cow here before we switch around and lay down on your back. So a couple cat cows, opening up through your spine. And this is like your moment. So if you need to swivel your hips or do anything different, then take liberty to do that. I invite you when we lay down tonight to find a way to put your legs up supported. You'll spend enough time when you're sleeping with your legs out flat. So take a moment here and use the opportunity we have in our space together to do a supported legs either up the wall or on a piece of furniture, or at minimum hips on a block, legs up, so that you get a moment to just drain from your ankles, which we don't take time to do. So go ahead and find that resting place now, legs up, softening. Take your arms out to the side, palms up. And I invite you to imagine a big jar, and it's slowly being emptied. So maybe it was full of sand, and a little bit at a time it's being poured out. And when the jar was full, it was full to the top, so you couldn't tell really how big it was or what might be inside. Slowly it's being emptied out. You start to notice the space between the top of the jar and the layer where the sand now begins. So there's a distinction, and you can see through the glass of the jar now where that part is empty. And then it empties out a little bit more, and now you're able to see the nuances that are in the sand, because you can shift the sand a little bit around in the jar. You can notice the distinct grains. You can notice movement of the sand because it's not just packed in so tight. You can appreciate the empty space as compared to the full space. And let your jar empty out completely. And appreciate that that had filled it had a purpose, and that was last week. And now you face this week and this month beginning after your rest. You are an empty jar. You are ready to fill up. And it's your choice how you fill up this month, this week. The substance that maybe was stuffed full before doesn't necessarily need to be the substance that you choose going forward. Or perhaps it is, but take your time becoming overwhelmed so that you have time to appreciate the white space, the empty space. You always have some space where there's clarity. And most importantly, you begin your week, your month with choice. We may not be able to choose the work that we have to do, but certainly we can choose the attitude that we have about it, the expectations we have of ourselves and of other people. Fill yourself up with a couple deep breaths in and open mouth breath out. Letting your chest just really collapse and soften on that exhale. If your legs are up the wall or supported, gently bring them down. If they were on the block, gently bring your heels to the floor. Move slowly, take your time, maybe opening and closing your fingers, just giving yourself space to come out of your softness as you sit back up. Sit up for a moment, sit nice and tall. Bring your hands together to heart center. Close your week with gratitude. What is at least one thing right now that you can think of that you are thankful for in this last week of February 2021? And then we move forward into a new week and a new month. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Namaste.
Namaste.